African music for the party. Bulire kigoma, kwe, 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 kwe. Stuka wo and see. Break your body, I want to see. But the moment, pull your mazina never know no. Everybody go low.
Hello. Oh, wow. I know you're surprised to see me here. I didn't expect to be here too. Well, welcome to Science TV Uganda Kigoma Show, your sign language TV channel. My name is Hindu Gloria, and today the song we've just watched and listened to is sung by a lady called Azawi. This lady sang this song and it's called Party Mood. Wow. This song, many people love it so many times, and I kept on wondering why. Because it has a good beat. It has a good beat. When you feel like you can't dance, you can get in the mood and stand up and dance. So she is a Ugandan, born from abroad. No, she is born of a Ugandan here, and this song is called Party Mood. Come on, let's do it. Hey, DJ, go down, DJ, let's go down. So, okay. So today, we have a very important, I repeat, it's very important guest today. We have guests today. You know, in Uganda movies, I've never heard of a movie or where people with disabilities are included. I don't know about you if you've heard, but me, I haven't heard. So this year, 2023, we have a movie that is called When You Become Me. It was produced this year and it premiered on 15th of March. So this movie is to market people with disabilities, because people out there think they have a negative attitude towards people with disabilities. They think that we cannot act, blind people cannot type, blind people cannot write, all people with disabilities, people who are deaf cannot write, they cannot use a phone. So this movie is to prove you wrong. We want to prove you wrong. All the negativity is going to be changed. We want to become positive. So blind people are in this movie. People with physical disabilities are included. Everyone is included in this movie. So this is about leaving no one behind. No one is oppressed. No one is discriminated. So let's wait a bit. We have with important guests, and let's have a short break, and then we come back.
And by the way, get this tip from me. Never start anything without boldness.
Africa, please come in. Have a seat.
This eye is not seeing. My visual impairment does not stop me from thinking, reading, writing, or even working.
Africa! Don't shine in my house!
Listen, you're an intern who works for me. Therefore, everything you do belongs to me. I don't need to ask your permission.
It's easy for people to blame everyone else and the external factors for how they feel on the inside.
We are simply doing what is best for the company right now. This conversation is done.
Welcome back from a short break. I hope you guys have seen the movie. We really have the guests here, and you should calm down. Just wait. So now our guests are here, and I would want to introduce yourself. Oh, thank you for hosting me here. I am called Ankunda Dorek. I'm so happy to be here. Yeah, hi. Hello. My sign name is that, and I'm called Emma. Thank you. Wow, that's nice. So we have a sign language interpreter, and his sign name is that. So our guests here have some few inquiries and questions from you. What really inspired the both of you to join the movie? What inspired you to pick that role that you played in the movie? Why did you choose that specific role? Because how did you know about the movie? And explain to me just. Wow, that's a very nice question. Thank you for the question. It's very important for me to explain about this. Truly, the way I joined the movie, it was through a person who called me to go for. There was a panel of judges that were judging out the best actress. Like, they choose your character, and so they had to give me that role to be Africa, because I personally am a deaf. So they gave you the role of being Africa. Yeah, I was acting as Africa. And why? Do you know why? Because it was for a deaf person who cannot speak. And it was to sensitize the community and the people to understand why deaf people, speaking is not a limit. But in the community, we're trying to sensitize the people to change their mindset towards the deaf people, so they can get to know that, the deaf people, when they cannot speak, how do we solve it? What do we need to do? But it's not only the deaf, it's not only me who was there, but there were also other different disabled people. But really, that made my dream become bigger, and I started to yearn to be an actress, and I hope to act in many more movies. So I would like you to also explain to us about how you joined the movie and what inspired you to pick up that specific role. Because, yeah. So
here's the thing. As you know, we did auditions. The judges were there, and I think I did well with the auditions, and I was picked. But then, when I heard about this story, a bit of it, because they won't give us the whole thing, so I got to know a little bit of the story, and as I was reading, I saw how it would change lives, especially people with disabilities, and I was like, I need to be part of something amazing. And I was like, okay, guys, you've given me this character. I told them it's really an honor, and I can't wait to give you my best. Yep.
Wow, that's very nice. Oh, yeah, Emma, again, I would like to ask you, I was soon asking what is your sign name, but I remember you gave us your sign name. That's your sign name, Emma. So before, I was thinking of a query to give you. Are you single, or you're Are you single?
I'm single.
Oh, I really admire you. Why don't you marry me? Like me, I'm here anyway. That was only fun. It was joking. Putting that aside. So Emma, I would like you to explain to me how you prepared for your role in the movie as a hearing person acting with a deaf person as your co-star. How was it? Were you ready, or you felt like, oh God, how am I going to do it? Should I sign? Oh, how is it going to be? How am I going to be?
One thing I considered when preparing for a hearing role, character, acting with the deaf co-star, is I had to learn about the deaf culture and experiences of deaf individuals through lots and lots of research. I did lots and lots of research, she can tell you, and also learning about the challenges and perspectives of the deaf community. So the whole preparation included education.
That's really amazing. Thank you for that reply. So, Dorek, I'm thinking of what to ask you. I had asked you about something. So I would like to ask you, did you like him when you met him? Like, but him do know, like he's handsome, yeah. Oh yeah, he's a really handsome guy, but I didn't really admire him. No, I didn't. But try to be positive. Okay, so this is entertainment. You just have to crack some little jokes. Okay, I would like you to explain to me about how you managed to be in a movie with hearing people. How did you manage to communicate with them? Was it hard or easy? How was the movie? Thank you for your question. It's so interesting, but truly, in the movie, when I was acting in a movie, I met very many hearing people, and they were really expectant and really wanted to learn sign language. But the challenge was time. Each and everyone was so busy, I never had time. But I gave most time to Emma because we really shared like a part. There is a part we were doing in sign language, so he had to learn, but I saw he was really so expectant and passionate about sign language. He really got to learn sign language so fast. So when I asked him, and I don't know if he still remembers or he doesn't. So Emma, do you remember? Oh yeah, he said he does. Okay, so surely many times when we were acting the movie, I would meet people and they say they want to say something, but they try. It was challenging, but then I read their lips. I was mostly using lip reading, then I can know what they want to say, and then I can teach them. So they always remembered what I was telling them. But the unit was really good, and very many were so passionate and interested in learning sign language. But the only challenge was time. Yeah, so sign language is really nice, and you're so passionate about sign language. Is it true? We put that fun aside. So I have some other inquiry. In the movie, you know, there are very many challenges we find in acting. So I'd like the two of you to explain to me what challenges you faced during the acting, and you managed to defeat the challenges. How did you manage to defeat the challenges? Like in the movie, what are the challenges you faced and how did you manage to defeat them? For example, communication and other things, like those challenges. So surely, I personally, in the movie, I faced some challenges, but no, like I didn't face any challenges in the movie. Personally, I didn't face any challenges, but there were challenges there. And mostly it was communication. Communication is the biggest barrier, and it was a challenge for me. Like someone is telling me to do something and I do not understand, and the interpreter is very far from you. I try my best to understand what the person is telling me to do, but it was really hard understanding someone when the interpreter is not around. And also the movie director, he might tell me to do this, and you will be like, the interpreter is maybe not here and I'm acting, but mostly the director needed to learn a way to communicate with the deaf people, because the inclusion needs you to know how to communicate with the deaf people. So communication was one of the challenges. Sometimes when the interpreter is far from me, as I've told you, and the director doesn't know sign language, you know, the communication was really very hard and I had no way to communicate. So that was my challenge. So now you've said communication was your challenge. How did you manage to overcome it? Do you know how I managed to overcome it? Was through lip reading. I used lip reading most times, and it made me understand, and also it made people understand me, because I would try to move my lips and then they would understand. But sometimes when it's hard for me, they usually wrote for me, and I also write. So that's the way I overcame that challenge. Yeah, you see, I know in life there are very many challenges. Sometimes we suffer. We as deaf people, sometimes it's communication, but we need you to really learn sign language. Or maybe if you don't know sign language, you can write, or eye contact is important. So now, Emma, back to you. I would like to know what challenges you faced.
Some of the challenges I faced, I didn't think I had any challenge, because when you're working on such a wonderful project if I'm a producer or an executive producer, I'll make sure everything is set. And so we were provided with a sign language coach that helped us out, made communication effective, and also helped in maintaining coordination between me and my co-star. So there was no challenge at all.
I think in this movie, what do you think is going to change the perspective of the deaf or the world? Do you think? 100%. I'm 100% sure that it will. You know, this movie. Okay, I would like, before I start explaining to you about this, I would like to give you some insight. You know, in Nigeria, they also have some acting that is also in sign language. Sometimes it's hearing people who do the acting. But we are here, we've started a project that, like, when you become me, it's a true thing, and it's a disabled person who is acting and a blind person is there. So because I know sign language and I'm deaf, so this movie is going to help sensitize the people out there to be aware, and they should change their mindset. They should know that, yes, they should feel like truly, you know, most times people have a negative attitude towards the blind people mostly. Do you know that? Most times when blind people are working in the office or writing or anything, people be like, can I even appoint this one to work in my office? How will he or she see? They can't see well. How will they understand what people are saying, or how will they write? But this movie is to sensitize and awaken the people that the blind can. They learned, they're educated, and there is a reason why they can appoint anyone to guide them. So it doesn't mean that because someone is deaf or blind, they can't do anything. Being a disabled, you can also access anything. Sometimes also the ramps, it's also helping to sensitize people. Sometimes those who use the wheelchairs, how do they access buildings? They need the ramps. Me who is deaf, what do I need? I need an interpreter for us to communicate smoothly. So this movie is all about sensitizing the people to get to know and say, oh, so the barriers can be solved. So this is to show people that there is possibility to anything. There is possibility to change anything. Want people to remove that negativity out of their minds so that they can be positive. You know, we need an inclusive world. We do not need to leave anyone behind. We need to bring everyone to that same level. They encourage me that you can come and join the movie. You know, when you want to know more about the disabled, the blind, and the hearing, do not fear. Go and ask them. Meet someone who is blind or deaf. Ask them, how do you do this? How do you do this? How can I help you? It helps you to understand, and you get out of ignorance. So this movie is all about sensitizing and awakening the people. So you should get the key word is change your mindset towards the disabled people. I've noted that. Everywhere I go, I have to inform people, please change your mindset. Oh yeah. So Emma, I would like to ask you, do you think this movie, When You Become Me, will change the perception of the deaf persons in Uganda and the world entirely? Do you think it will?
I think When You Become Me, will change the perception of the deaf community in Uganda and the whole world, because this is step one to reaching that goal. And as you know, society with the deaf community, for example, the deaf community, there's been discrimination, and that's something you can't just change in one day. So I believe When You Become Me is the first step to reaching that goal. And if we keep on making movies like that, I believe it will. I believe we shall reach our destiny. Yes.
Thank you. We hope that the deaf are going to watch the movie and learn something. So I have another question for Dorek. I would like you to share your personal experience as a deaf actress in Uganda or a deaf person in Uganda. Explain to the people out there, how did this movie, acting this movie, and what is your vision as a deaf person? My personal experience, I got more challenges in communication, as I told you, but I personally experienced a lot of challenges, a communication barrier, but other areas like work, education, my family background, communication is very well and okay. And the same way I told you before about the mindset, the negative mindset people have and the negative attitude, my vision is to sensitize people and help people change their mindsets towards the disabled community. You know, very many times people stigmatize the disabled community, and I myself, I feel bad and feel pain when someone calls me Kasiru, like a deaf person. You give me in the local language they say Kasiru. So to me, it's really a negative attitude towards us. But my vision is to see the community and the world change their attitude towards the deaf community. You know, people think that the deaf community cannot be actors or actresses. What about me? I managed, and it was my first time. It was the first step of my life to be an actress in the movie When You Become Me, and it has made me proud that, oh, so I can. So it means that deaf people can. I would like to request people that, you know, this movie is all about sensitizing you, and the deaf people, if you know you have a talent, do not sit down on yourself. Go and showcase your talent. You know, you can try to sensitize the community, and people will see and say, oh yeah, he's deaf but he can do this. Also the blind, also those who use crutches or ramps, you need to wake up and show up yourself. Yeah, so the key word is do not sit down on your talent. And secondly, you should have a positive attitude towards yourself. Please, the hearing people, you know, sometimes we deaf people feel like, oh, they are now going to look down onto me. No, please, inclusion is important. We must learn different life experiences. When you don't involve yourself in different communities, how are you going to get to learn and know the different communities and cultures? It's good to have a lot of experience. Also, that deaf people, if you have a talent, please don't sit down on yourself or your talent. You need to stand up, and people will notice and people will know you. If you hide your talent and say, I have a talent, please showcase it. Yeah, so now back to Emma. I would like to ask you also. Yeah, you know, Emma, you're really a nice person. Please. Can I kneel so that you marry me? Okay, oh no, just fun. Please, I would like you to share your experience working with a deaf person. You should explain to us what you learned from this movie, working with a deaf person as your co-star. You know, you and Derek were in the movie together. What did you learn from this? Like, acting with a deaf person, what did it teach you? You could share with us your experience.
My experience and what I learned is that we need to approach deaf individuals with respect, understanding, and inclusivity by valuing their culture, their language, and also advocating for their rights. And I also learned a little bit of sign language. She's a really good teacher and good at children. So the whole experience was fun. So much fun. I met everybody left with some basics of sign language. It was really fun. I had fun.
So first, hold on from there. Yeah, hold on from there. Apart from your sign name, please show me any other sign language that you learned. Please sign, I think you forgot.
No, I didn't.
Please, when you learn something new.
I'm a little bit rusty. I don't want to embarrass myself, but yes, I know something. And I'll show you. Don't worry.
I will remind you. Don't mind. Okay. So when you the hearing people out there, when you meet a deaf person, you should know some sign language so that you can communicate with them. You know, Emma said he learned something. You never know what opportunity comes in the future when you don't know what your boss might say. So it's better you learn some basics or some sign language. and you should never forget. For example, my sign name is Hindu. You should always remember, oh, there is a girl I met, her sign name is that. You should always keep to remember what you learned. So I would like to ask you another last question for the both of you. I would like you to, what advice do you give the people out there? Do you think it's important to have disability inclusion, like different people who are representing the disabled fraternity? Do you think it's important to have inclusion? What is the advice you're giving to the people? Thank you for this question. My advice to the youth out there, be it deaf or hearing, any community, or your neighbor or friend or relative, generally I would like to advise you, leave no one behind. Leave no one behind. It's very important. You should remember this is key. Leave no one behind, because we're really trying to sensitize for the disabled people so that people get to know. You know, sometimes people think we cannot do anything, but this is showing you that we can. And this is how this movie was started up. We want to show you that we can. I have good news for you. This month on 27th or 27th to 30th, those days, we have a movie. We're going to have a movie night at Cinemax Arena Mall. So please, you should use this time and this opportunity. When you have free time, please go and see and learn something. Get some point from this movie. You will feel so desperate more to know about the concept. Some of you don't feel like you don't feel like you desire to learn, but when you watch the movie, you're going to be so desperate to know more. So that point of leave no one behind is really important. And we disabled people can. Disability is not inability. Some of you think we cannot do anything and you do not give us opportunities, but we can. You should also we are trying to remove the barriers. Some of you feel the barriers are always going to stay, but these barriers, we need to defeat the barriers. And I feel there are no barriers. So when there is inclusion, I feel there are no barriers. I love you. Thank you. Me alone. Okay. So remember the keywords are leave no one behind. You should not oppress the disabled people. Do not stigmatize them. Yes, that disability have things they can do. What the able-bodied can do, that disabled can also do. You see, we are here, we are deaf, but we can also do what you can do. So now back to you, Emma. You need to share your message to the audience or the people out there. Any important thing about disability inclusion?
So it is pretty simple. If you're out there, please chase your dreams. I can give you an example of Dorek. Let her be an inspiration to you all, that you can do greater and greater things. So I urge you to don't sit on your talents, stand up and pursue your dreams. And also, I should say 27th to 30th of April, we'll be showing the movie When You Become Me at Arena Mall in Zambia. It will be an honor to have you there, and I hope you learn from this movie. You want to live the same, that I can assure you. But hey, get up wherever you are, chase your dreams. Don't hold back. That's my message to you.
I would like thank you so much for your time, and people out there shouldn't forget, do you know what, 27th to 30th this month of April at Arena Mall, Zambia. It's not free of charge. Now, how much is the fee? 30,000. Only you get a receipt and you watch. Please and please, you should tell your family, tell a friend, tell them to come and watch. This is going to help you change the ways, your perception towards the disabled community. Also me, I want to go and watch. You see, if you want to meet me physically, it's okay, you can meet me on that day. Yeah, so thank you so much, and do not forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Science TV Uganda. Facebook, you should follow us. On Twitter, follow us. Please do not forget, and you should remember, you shouldn't miss Derek, and you know, Emma, you should go back and also search on YouTube and follow us. So you're all free to do what you wish. Thank you for watching. Love you all.